What's up? Welcome in. Hoge Jahns with you as we roll into week 7 of the NFL season. The Bears looking for their second win in the Tyson Bagent era. Or Bagent. Little foreshadowing for you there on this episode.
Bagent, baby.
It's Bagent. Bagent?
I have a fun over and under for you later.
Okay. Ooh, I saw. I hope you included one I saw on Twitter this morning. So
was it in my timeline?
It was a response to your request for over unders, and they tagged me in it. That's why I saw it. So I'm excited. We got over unders coming up. We got news to talk about as well. Vic Tafur, who covers the Raiders, is going to join us. We'll have some fun with him. And of course, we'll pick some games this week as well. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns, at Hoge and Jahns is our show account. And you can buy all of our merch at hogeandjahns.com. A lot of good stuff up there. Hoodies, hats. We got to get the winter hats rolling, don't we?
It's that time of year.
We had an early 6 a.m. practice today, and I woke up and I'm like, oh, crap. It's cold in the mornings. It actually wasn't that bad, but I did have my winter hat on.
I feel like we talk about this at this point in every year. I love football hoodie weather, even football winter hat weather, where that's all you got. That's your warmth apparel.
Yeah.
The crisp air, the cool air that comes in the morning or at night. I love it.
It's great. By the way, I know someone's going to ask about this. So this is one of our DNVR hoodies for legally, I can't say the head coach's name as we promote these, but it's pretty cool. It's got the buffalo in there.
For a second there, I thought that said skull, which would go with the conspiracy theory that you are a secret Vikings fan.
Secret Vikings? What, they think I'm a Packer fan? They think I'm a Viking fan? I am a secret Colorado Buffalo fan now for Coach Prime. I love watching Colorado. The SCO apparently.
I love falling asleep watching Colorado and waking up seeing them, being surprised they lost.
Oh, I watched that whole.
Watched the whole thing.
Well, I had Colorado minus 11 in our big pick'em thing that we're all in that you're not in, and fun fact, not really a secret, but after wins, high school coaches tend to go to a bar after the game.
No.
Yeah. So we got to the bar and the score was 29-0. And I'm like, oh, this is a wrap. This is great. And then I proceeded to sit there with Jason McKee and Rasheed Davis, and my wife was there too, and just watch the whole thing melt down the rest of the night. However, I was so impressed with that Stanford wide receiver. I wasn't even that mad about it. It was fun to watch.
Oh, you put your scouting hat on.
Dude, did you see that guy?
No, my experience watching this game, I was watching it in bed. 29-0, watched a little bit of the third quarter, turned it off, fell asleep. Woke up the next morning, I'm like, wait, Colorado lost?
Yes, they lost. It was insane. And there was just one big wide receiver that was faster somehow than all those athletes Colorado has. And they just ran slant, and they had no answer for it. And it was the most frustrating thing. Like, I was frustrated because I had Colorado minus 11. I couldn't imagine actually being a Buffalo fan and being – anyway, you weren't here for this. This is a Bears podcast. The SCO, apparently – I looked this up. I didn't really know because I'm not really a Colorado fan. No surprise there. Apparently, it's just like over time, like, let's go – turned into SCO.
Oh, I get it.
SCO Buffaloes. So that just I think that's what it is. If I'm wrong, somebody tweet at me, but I'm pretty sure according to Google, that's what it is. And Google's
I like
never
that
wrong.
explanation. That's a good definition.
Yeah.
I take that. SCO!
Right, yeah. Well, SCO Bagent.
Probably some Bears fans screaming, SCO! Let's get to the Bears talk.
SCO Bagent. Right? Can we make that a thing?
Bagent. SCO Bagent.
I don't know. Doesn't really work. So here's your Justin Fields update from Matt Eberflus.
Nothing's off the table. Nothing is on the table right now.
Is there even a table?
What size is the table?
I'm calling in the question about the existence of the table.
Does the table exist?
Is this the same table that John Gruden used to bang on?
That's a good question.
Let's pound the ball right up their ass. Knock on wood if you're with me, man. All right?
Good reference with the Raiders coming to town.
I'm good, baby.
Yeah. So surgery is on the table and off the table at the same time. The table in question may or may not exist. Your reaction?
My actually initial reaction is when they signed Trace McSorley, the old Penn State quarterback, to the practice squad. Your radar goes off like, oh, this is going to be longer than you think, right?
They still need somebody around the scout team. I guess. Yeah.
Do they really? But maybe, yes. I understand that. But you need quarterback bodies in the building. It's never a good sign when they keep adding to that position. We know how this goes. It's his throwing thumb. He can't grip the football.
Is that bad?
It's not good. It's not
Yeah.
good. Like, even if he tapes it up, toughs it out, like, in all seriousness, like Maddie Eberflus had a quote about that, about how there's been players in the past who have done that, who've played through it by taping it up and toughing it out. If you're Justin Fields, like, I understand that this is part of who you are, but in the big picture, is this really what you want to do with your career? Is like risking further injury to your throwing hand? So I'm guessing by Saturday we'll know for sure how long he's going to be out.
Do you think they already know if surgery is happening, if it's not happening, and they're just not saying? Or do you think, like, look, Anthony Richardson just took like a week to figure out what the hell was going on with the shoulder, probably got second, third opinions, and then ultimately they made a decision that, hey, this is the best thing for this kid going forward, and he's going to be out for the year now. He's going to have season-ending surgery.
I think it's still up in the air, on the table, off the table. I think Matt Eberflus is being truthful through those cliches, coaching cliches.
Nothing's off the table. Nothing is on the table right now.
I don't know if it's considered a cliche, though. I don't know if a coach has ever said that in the history of coaches.
Okay. True.
It is still coach speak, though.
It's very much coach speak. Flus speak. We'll call it Flus speak. Yes, like, given my history of like covering Bears quarterbacks, like when Jay Cutler like tore part of his groin where it's like off the bone, but then you're thinking, oh, he's done for the year. No, they're gonna hook him up to some electrical shock machine and shock his groin repeatedly until the thing's joined back together and he can play. Didn't play well, but he played.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, but that doesn't sound pleasant.
No. Even Cutler groin shock would joke about how painful it was. And then Brandon Marshall's using the art machine. Like Trubisky, he had the shoulder problem. He played through that. So Justin Fields dislocated his shoulder last year. Came back sooner than we thought he would. Mm-hmm. This is what Bears quarterbacks do, because Bears quarterbacks get hurt. We'll see. Yeah, but then again, I wouldn't be surprised come Saturday morning there's a news release that Justin Fields has been put on IR and he's out for 4 weeks.
So the other direction I want to go with this is the Justin Fields side.
Yeah.
Let's look, we know Justin wants to play football. If you're advising Justin Fields, though, in his current situation, this is a guy that just a couple months ago was a top 100 NFL player, 10 spots higher than even Trevor Lawrence, okay, as voted on by the players. And we don't need to debate the, validity of that list, but it's still a signal of the respect for this guy around the league.
Correct.
What are you telling Justin Fields? That in Chicago right now, I'm driving around yesterday and I hear Parkins and Spiegel interviewing a reporter from USC. There's a reporter I know from here that went to Notre Dame on Saturday.
Who?
To see.
Give me that jerk's name.
By the way, Matt Spiegel, you are my friend. I appreciate you. But if you're going to cite information from my guy Adam John's story, you better freaking say his name.
I don't listen. Okay,
I'm kidding her. Well, I'm not kidding, but I'm also just playing her out. Yeah, okay. They read your story and they asked. I think they asked the reporter about, the stuff you were talking about on Tuesday about, or Sunday, whatever episode that was when we talked about it, about the pregame stuff and him not being in the huddle and whatever.
Oh, now I'm curious to what the reporter's reply was. I haven't heard this from their show yet.
He kind of dismissed the idea that there's any issues of him being like not a team guy or anything.
Yeah.
Which I'm not even sure you were trying to hint. You were just observing. You were just sharing what you were observing, which is fine. But yeah, anyway, my point is, this is the conversation in Chicago. Like, let's be honest. Like, I feel like Chicago has put one of Justin Fields' feet already out the door here. So how do you handle this from Justin Fields' side? Are you trying to start thinking about what's next, what's better long term, or do you want to still get your guy back on the field so hopefully he starts playing better and you know, we can salvage this thing? I don't know.
So as it stands right now, Justin Fields ranks 12th in quarterback passer rating. That's higher than Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, even Jalen Hurts. Like, there's statistical improvements. He's got the same amount of touchdown passes as Patrick Mahomes. But if I'm advising Justin Fields, because that's your question, right? Like, here's my advice.
Yeah.
You've done enough. Physically get yourself right to give yourself a better chance, whether it's later this year or next year, whether it be for the Bears or another team. Make sure you're physically ready for what's ahead. You don't want to go out there, risk further injury, risk further poor evaluations because you're not 100%. Like, why? Oh, Justin Fields lost his deep ball. Well, he can't grip the ball, so maybe he shouldn't be playing. That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're right. Like, I'm going to reference Mr. Trubisky again. When all the work he went through, surgeries, like getting his body realigned, going into the 2020 season where he knew he was going to be in a quarterback competition with Nick Foles. Like, I did a lengthy story on this. He did so many things to get his body right. Don't forget the shoulder injuries that Trubisky had, right? He had to realign himself because there was attrition in one arm and whatnot. He had to get right. Like, I'd give similar advice to Justin Fields. Get yourself right. Get physically right. Be at your best physically so you can be at your best in the games, because I don't see what you have left to prove in terms of your toughness and in terms of being a leader through that toughness. In that regard, I think you've done enough, Justin Fields.
No, don't care.
Okay, Mitch. Yeah, I think that's got to be part of the equation. That's why I wanted to bring it up. I think it's, and I also, well, let's save the Bagent stuff for when we get to the big questions. But I wonder how eager the Bears are right now to see what else there is, if that makes sense. All right, let's bring in Vic Tafur, who's covered the Raiders for a long time, going back to their time in Oakland. He is the Raiders writer for The Athletic, somebody you should be following on Twitter this week. And I want people to listen to this. So just full disclosure here, because you're going to, especially if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see John's transform into a different location. John's talked to Vic yesterday, so this was recorded yesterday. And
I was at Hallis Hall.
Yeah, you were at Hallis. So I'm not in on this interview. It's just John's talking to Vic, but Vic to me sounds like somebody. And I want to, and it's a Bears connection. So that's my only hint I want to give people. I don't want to give it away before the interview. I want to torture people like I was tortured listening to this, trying to figure out who the hell does this guy sound like? And then I finally figured it out. So I'll tell you after the interview. But here it is, Vic Tafur talking about the Raiders.
All right, let's bring in Vic Tafur. He covers the Raiders for The Athletic. You could hear him on the State of the Nation podcast. Vic, first question, serious one. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the Aiden O'Connell, Tyson Bagent matchup on Sunday?
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to go with a 6.
6?
6. And I'm not positive it's going to be Aiden O'Connell. I think, people think it might be because he played the last time Jimmy was out. But I think Brian Hoyer did enough in that appearance last week where I think it's definitely a debate to have Brian Hoyer or O'Connell this weekend. So I wouldn't totally sell it as your big O'Connell Bagent. Is that how I say it? Bagent matchup.
Bagent.
Bagent. Ah, damn, my bad. Bagent.
Yeah, get to know it, I guess, for at least for a week. Well, here's another fun fact: Brian Hoyer is one of 20 quarterbacks to take a snap for the Bears since 2011, when George McCaskey became chairman of this team.
There's your storyline. See, he had a win last week against the Patriots, his old team. Now he goes to Chicago and beats another old team. It's the Brian Hoyer revenge tour.
Yes,
like
the revenge game. I remember Dow Loggins actually like bragging about Brian Hoyer's completion percentage. He was up to like 70%, and then he got hurt. Those are the storylines, those types of little glimpses of a hope that quarterbacks give you before they get hurt and kind of go away.
Hoyer had like a 48-yard pass last week to Trey Tucker, their rookie, kind of a strike down the middle of the field. It was their best pass of the year so far. So, I mean, he has that going for him. So I think their offense has not been very good. So you never know.
So their defense has been pretty good, though, right, Vic? Like, they stopped Jordan Love. They stopped Mac Jones. You would assume they have a pretty good day against Tyson Bagent.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, it's hard to say they're good if if you beat up on Mac Jones and the Patriots offense. They're not very good, and the Packers looked pretty terrible when they were here. So, but those are games they probably lose last year. So I think you have to give them that. I think definitely Max Crosby's obviously one of the best players in the league. Probably gotten better this year. He's taking his game to another level. I thought when Chandler Jones went missing, I thought that was going to hurt Max as far as the attention and all the. But he's still overcome that. I mean, there's not a lot of guys on the D line who kind of are names you think that people would worry about. But they've done enough, and he's definitely been a dominant player for them still, even though he gets all the attention.
Yeah, Matt Eberflus today mentioned Max Crosby without even being asked about him, just in terms of what type of a bad matchup he could be for two young offensive tackles that the Bears have. So it seems to be a pretty good matchup, I would assume, for Crosby to kind of pad his stats.
Yeah, he's a maniac. I mean, he's played every snap the last 3 games. He moves around and just has that long wingspan and the nonstop motor. And he's a very tough guy to block. Even if like the Patriots tried to have a tight end chip on him last week, and he got around both guys for that game-winning safety last week. So just a really impressive player, and kind of carried this whole defense on his back the first part of the season.
I wanted to ask you about Josh McDaniels because, gosh, a few years ago, he was the Bears interviewed him as part of their coaching search that eventually ended up at Matt Nagy. I know McDaniel stuck around New England for a bit, but in year 2, what's the second go around for Josh McDaniels kind of look like as a head coach?
I'll be honest with you, it has not been terribly impressive. I think last year he kind of went with Derek Carr. I thought he could make that work, and obviously we all know it didn't work. And they had given him an extension before that, so they gave Derek an extension, and wound up not getting anything back for him in a trade. They had to cut him. This year they go out and get their old friend Jimmy G for like $33 million guaranteed for 2 years, and he hasn't played very well. He's been hurt, and he had a concussion. Now he's got a back deal, but even when he was healthy, he wasn't playing very well. So I think there's a question mark about Josh and this offense and what's he doing at quarterback.
Yeah, what's the long game there?
I don't know, man. I think they're kind of stuck with him. Not stuck is kind of a mean way to put it, but they got Jimmy for one more year. I think he was kind of the stopgap guy. I think Aiden O'Connell's the guy that got in the 4th round. Some fans love him because he had a great preseason, but you and I both know that doesn't really mean much if you do well in the preseason. So is he a long-term guy, or is he a long-term backup? If he's a long-term backup, I think that's still a success, for a 4th round pick. But I think they'll look at next year's draft and where they're at in the draft order. If they can get one of those top guys, maybe that's what they do. But they're still in kind of limbo. They're not really have a clear-cut plan as what they're going to do as far as the next guy who's going to lead this team out of the doldrums of the AFC.
Yeah. Anything else stand out about O'Connell? He's a local kid, right? Like, that's why I want to bring him up. He played high school not too far away from here at Stevenson here in Chicago.
For sure. He's just a guy
outside Chicago, I should say.
Well, those guys who, I think he was at one point as a freshman at Purdue, he was like 8th on the depth chart. So he's definitely a guy who's driven, hard worker, very accurate. The knocks to him are he's not very athletic. I mean, and then in that first start against the Chargers a few weeks back, he held the ball way too long. But against his first start on the road, and he got Khalil Mack coming at you, I'm sure it's not a great feeling to be back there. But he held onto the ball too long that first start, and I'm sure it's a learning process. But Yeah, very accurate. And then the athletic thing is the big question mark if he can really succeed on this level because can he get away from guys and buy time in the pocket?
As far as, just to go back to what you're saying about, finding their next quarterback, I'm trying to feel out like who could be the potential competition for the Bears, who have the first and second pick. Obviously, they're not going to take two quarterbacks there, but still 11 games for this to shake out. Do you think, yes, the Raiders have to be one of those teams, depending on where they land in the draft, where they have to consider trading up for a Drake May or looking at a J.J. McCarthy around 10 or 12?
You would think so. You think I don't think if I don't know if Caleb Williams is still the top guy, but I don't know if you can trade up that high. But to get in probably in that top 5 or 6 spots, to get one of these 3 or 4 quarterbacks going to be there, I think would probably be a good move because, like we said, Jimmy's a guy for next year only, and even at that, he hasn't played well enough to kind of make you feel great. That's a great way to go. So I think if you can get one of these young guys to build around, you got. I mean, I think this past year, they thought about it and they kind of realized that Young and Stroud were going to go 1-2, and those are the 2 guys I like the most. And then Richardson was kind of a question mark. And so this year wasn't really a fit for them as far as being aggressive to get a guy up high. But maybe next year there's a chance to do that. But they're going to be. I mean, there's too much talent in this roster to finish. I think with less than 6 or 7 wins. So I think that's kind of puts you in a weird spot if you're trying to get your top guy.
Yeah, that weird limbo spot where you almost have to be aggressive, which we've seen here, whether it's the Bears trading up for Fields or heck, when they had their opportunity, they trading up for Trubisky. The desperation of the position, it seems to affect all teams. Is Davante Adams still Davante Adams? He's tortured Bears or this team for a long time. He's just in a different uniform now.
Yeah, he's still a man. I mean, he got a little bit of a shoulder and nagging injury, but he's fine. He'll play, and he's a little frustrated. He's not getting the ball a lot. He's got like 9 targets the last 2 weeks, so that's kind of been an issue for him. I think he clearly wants to be the guy, and he deserves to be the guy and get more targets than that. They're trying to spread it out, and again, I mentioned the quarterback play has not been great this far, but I think going forward, they realize they have to get him a little happier with his output. So I think that'll probably be a focus this week to get him a little more balls.
Kind of force feed him a
little
bit if you have to.
And with him, he's so good. That's not a bad thing. I mean, he's such a great route runner. He can catch the ball in traffic. He's got a little faster than you think he is. He can definitely get open. So I think even if you have a guy over the top or double bracketed coverage, he definitely can make plays. So I think you got to give him that chance to do it.
You do your VIX picks like every week. Like any surprise that the Raiders, I mean, the Bears just aren't good, but like I'm just curious for your perspective. They're a 3-point road favorite against the Chicago Bears. I mean, maybe talk us through that. That's just a reflection of how bad this team that I covered just might be.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think, and the Raiders don't get a lot of respect. They were only 3-point favorites against the Patriots at home last week, so that tells you it's not like a huge the Raiders have arrived feeling. I think it's kind of like it's more about you guys are not very good, and obviously no one has a lot of faith in Tyson Bagent. Come on. I thought I had the time. But yeah, so I think that spread's more indicative of you guys and the Raiders. I think that they got the lucky cover last week. They were winning by 2, and Max got the safety at the end of the game to win by 4. So that was a big moment in the Vegas sports books, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm not sure there's a lot of respect for them quite yet. I think that's more like anti-Bears.
Yeah. How do you see this matchup kind of playing out? I know we're talking on a Wednesday afternoon, at least for me up in Lake Forest. I'm at Hallis Hall. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, you can see Justin Fields' old jersey here behind me. But like, how do you see this one playing out? How do you like the matchup?
I think it's not. I mean, I think it'll be a close game. I think the Raiders couldn't really pull away from either the Packers or the Patriots. I'm not sure they're going to pull away from you guys. On the road. I think I'd imagine the Bears will stack the box against Josh Jacobs. This is what all teams have done so far, and it's worked pretty well. Kind of force ways to beat you in the air. They're not good enough to kind of get to a huge lead doing that. So defensively, Max Crosby is obviously the key guy. If you can help him not totally take over the game, and you're in good shape. There's not a lot of talent here in the secondary or linebacker, so definitely there's chances for you guys to win those kind of matchups. I think I could see running backs out of the backfield have hurt the Raiders at times. That could be a way to go. So I think it'll be a close game. I imagine just based on the quarterback matchup, because your guys so inexperienced, didn't have a lot of success in college. I'd probably go with the Raiders, but I think it'll be close.
Yeah, I wonder if this is just almost where the stars are the stars, where Max Crosby plays like Max Crosby, Davante Adams does the Davante Adams thing, and Josh Jacobs is just enough,
Yeah.
to beat the Bears. The Bears don't have that star power whatsoever, really, other than DJ Moore, who I assume would be a concern for that defense.
For sure. And that's why the Raiders, I think, are 3-3, and there's probably going to, like I said, win 7 to 8 games because they have those 3 guys, and those 3 guys are that good. And I think they can impact how a team attacks them, and also get things more open for other guys on the roster.
Awesome. Well, Vic, thanks so much. Are you coming to town?
Yeah, I'll see you. I'll be out there.
All right.
Yeah, I can't miss the Bagent.
No, come on.
Yeah, I can't get it. It's like a mental block.
Just like Bay, like
someone
Green
know.
Bay. Yeah, Green
There's
Bay.
someone
Like
I know
Bagent.
named Bagent. I must know someone named Bagent. That's why it's in my head.
Yeah.
Like I remember my past. There's a guy that.
Do you know his backstory? His dad's like the
arm
all-time
wrestler.
greatest arm wrestler.
Ah,
Yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah, that's why I should know his name. But Bagent.
got it right.
Bagent. All right. I'm going to get that right from now on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can't miss the Bagent Hoyer matchup or Bagent O'Connell, whatever.
Yeah, maybe both.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I can definitely give them one guy a half, and if they're not moving the ball, and can't hurt to bring another guy in.
Yeah.
Well, who cares?
If you're lucky enough, you might just see Nathan Peterman coming for the Bears.
John Gruden's old favorite. John Gruden was a big Nate Peterman guy.
Yeah. Well, he's here. He's been here on and off the practice squad. Now he's the backup. But
Well, he can't beat out Bagent.
Bagent. No, he didn't. No, it was Bagent. Bagent. Now I'm getting it wrong.
See, I got you now.
Bagent beat out PJ Walker. The PJ Walker who just beat the San Francisco 49ers. I know the 49ers missed a field goal, but played well enough to win.
That's pretty good. All right.
Yeah, not too bad.
New firm respect for my guy. All right.
Yeah, we'll see. But thank you, Vic. You could read his stuff on The Athletic. He is our Raiders writer, State of the Nation podcast, and at Vic Tafur, Tafur on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days. Thank you, Vic.
I'll see you Sunday.
All right, Johns. Well, I'm glad we got that down. Bagent. Or Bagent, which I had not heard before until you slipped that in there towards the end.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Vic.
Bagent. He tripped you up. Okay. Can you figure out who I'm talking about?
Give me a clue.
Former Bears player.
Former Bears player position.
Okay. Linebacker.
Urlacher?
Yes. He sounds like Urlacher. And it's that. So voice-wise, it's about maybe a 70% match. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but even the cadences, like kind of the style Vic talks, which I like. It's a little bit lower energy, a little bit drier.
The voice inflection. Yeah, Urlacher had that.
Just even the length of his answers, it's like I'm listening to a Brian Urlacher interview.
It's been a long time since I listened to the Brian Urlacher interview, but yes, I see it. Yeah, okay.
I guarantee you at least half of our audience is going, yes, like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, like pointing at the TV, and then the other half is like, what are you talking about?
The other half are fast forwarding. Some of us are going to go listen back.
I mean, that's basically this podcast. Usually, though, half the listeners going, what are you talking about? All right. Good stuff from Vic, though. And he certainly, I don't know, he seemed to think it's going to be Brian Hoyer playing quarterback.
Revenge game, baby.
Not Aiden O'Connell. I hope Aiden O'Connell gets in the game. Aiden O'Connell's a local kid from Stevenson. Kind of a cool story. Went overlooked recruiting-wise. Ends up, I believe, walking on at Purdue. I was actually I might be confusing quarterbacks now because David Blau was playing. I think he got in that game anyway that I was there with Northwestern. Regardless, O'Connell ended up being a really good starter for them, 4th-round pick. And it'd be, just a cool story for him to come back and play at Soldier Field if he does get the start or gets into the game. But
there's so many connections here, right? Brian Hoyer,
yeah,
former Bears QB, Jimmy Garoppolo, Eastern Illinois, Arlington Heights,
yeah,
Rolling Meadows, I should say. Aiden O'Connell shares the same private quarterbacks coach as Mitch Trubisky and Jeff Christensen, who also happens to be Patrick Mahomes' private coach, who plays for Matt Nagy. It's just all full circle here, baby.
Aiden O'Connell, and maybe it's just because he went to Purdue, or just hearing Vic talk about 4th-round pick, had a nice preseason. Maybe he's a backup. We'll see what he can. It's like a little Kyle Orton vibes to me. Not necessarily in personality, but just like
does he pound whiskey or it's all over his shirt? That is the
Let's
question.
pound the ball right up their knock on wood if you're with me, man. All right?
You know what pictures I'm talking about. We're
Oh,
going
yeah.
down the Kyle Orton road.
In JT O'Sullivan's videos that he does, he calls Robert Tonyan and Kyle Orton because he wears 18. And then he references like random stories that they have together because that's the time that JT O'Sullivan was a Bear briefly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he likes Kyle Orton. They probably had some fun together. All right, let's get to these big questions.
Number 1, what will the offense look like with Tyson Bagent? Adam Hoge.
I think it's going to look similar. Wait.
Explain.
Can I clarify this question? Are you talking about schematically or
Yeah,
just like in general successfully?
Or even just feel for it. Like, do you really think they'll like overly commit to the run? There's a lot of screens, a lot of wide receiver screens thrown against the Vikings from Bagent. Like, does that continue?
Yeah, like
how
3
many
in a row
down the
at one
field
point.
shots plays are you calling? Like, are you going max protect? 2 route combos where you're going deep with Tyson Bagent like you would with Justin Fields.
Whatever protections they call, I hope they know how to block them. Maybe the center change will help because it looked bad with Cody in there last week. Okay, so offensively, like I don't think you're calling QB runs. Can you still do some zone read? I think Bagent can still move enough to do some of that
We've
stuff.
seen some of that. He's got rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. So I think RPOs are still on the table. I don't see a dramatic shift in the offense. I
think, can I inject? I think
Yeah.
you see more of a short passing game where the ball is actually out quicker.
Yes.
I think Tyson Bagent can do that where Justin Fields still struggles to do that.
I think that's what I was going to get at it too.
Sorry.
I think no. It's a good point because I feel like this coaching staff is going to trust, believe it or not, I think they're going to trust Tyson Bagent more to do that. Like I can't imagine. We can go back to the first
like West Coast stuff.
Yeah, we can go back to the first play against the Vikings again, and like I hate how it was drawn up. I hate that idea. But regardless, at the end of the day, if you're the offense coordinator, you got to be still so frustrated Justin didn't throw the ball. Like, how do you not throw the ball? And we saw that like almost immediately when Bagent went in the game. It was like, oh, ball's out. So I agree with that. Now, the amount of success they have, I think it's similar. Like 1 to 2 touchdowns. You're going to see glimpses where you're like, oh, that's cool. That's working. And then you're going to see a lot of mistakes and unfortunately, I think that's just who they are at this point.
Yeah. I don't want to like get carried away in terms of us. Like, this isn't us saying that Tyson Bagent is better than Justin Fields. It's us saying that certain things will look like the operation will look different because Bagent can't go down the field. He's not going to be the run threat that Justin Fields is. And we'll see what the offense, like there's going to be adjustments in terms of feel, schematics, calls. Like there'll be some differences that I think everyone will notice.
What else? Go ahead. I'm listening.
Number 2, buying or selling. The Bears will be sellers by next week. Trade deadline, Halloween.
I get this feeling they're going to be quiet at the deadline. If I had to pick between the two, I think they're sellers, obviously. But what do they really have to sell?
With Jalen Johnson, Darnell Mooney.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Mooney, you'd be selling at the lowest point possible. And you're taking away a guy who knows the offense, is reliable enough for now a rookie quarterback in there. Do you really want to do that? What are you getting for Darnell Mooney right now?
Well, I think the question, if you're Ryan Poles, is whether or not you're going to re-sign Darnell Mooney, whether or not you're going to re-sign Jalen Johnson. Like if there's any sense of or feeling that no, like I think Ryan Poles, like, the feel I have for him is he always wants something. He doesn't want nothing,
Yeah.
right? It's like trading Chase Claypool. Like, he didn't get anything really, but he got something. It's not nothing.
Yeah, I just mean like, is Mooney's?
I get what you're like. You want to help out the current
Yeah.
situation still. You don't want to like completely throw in the towel because that's bad for culture. That's bad for young player development. It's bad business in a sense, but it's also bad business to let assets walk out the door without anything in return.
Yeah, I agree, but I mean, if there's also a possibility you can resign him relatively cheap, the
Yeah.
way things are trending.
I think Jalen Johnson is different because it's a premium position. He's a number 1, number 2 cornerback on most teams, and you've drafted 3 cornerbacks over the past 2 years that you've spoken glowingly about.
Yeah, for Johnson, I am definitely in the camp of, can you stop giving away good players? That being said, if you can get a second-round pick for him, I feel like he could be gone. But I'm not necessarily on the same page, just like I wasn't last year with Roquan Smith, and that looks even worse now, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, are they? I mean, can you see them buying?
No.
Like, what would they be buying? A time machine so they can go back and make different decisions? Sorry.
Number 3, would you rather be the Raiders or the Bears?
Ooh. Wow.
For a long time, when we've had questions like this, you and I have always gone with this answer. Well, the Bears have Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Young quarterback, a ton of promise, good leader, respected, does everything you want in terms of off the field stuff for the quarterback, has stuff to work on the field, but the talent is there. The arm talent, the rare athleticism. But now he's hurt.
All right. Here's the thing, though. I'm still going to say the Bears, and here's why. Now, would I rather be the Raiders or the Bears this weekend? I'd rather be the Raiders. I'd rather have Max Crosby specifically, which is something the Bears desperately need. Both teams are in this position where they could be looking at new head coaches in the offseason. The Raiders have this Devontae Adams sort of problem where they're not getting enough out of the money that they owe him. And he doesn't seem like he's happy. Neither team appears to have a bright future at quarterback, with one exception. The Bears have a much, much better chance at picking 1 and maybe 1 and 2 in the NFL draft. And their money situation is still in a really, really good place. So as crazy as it sounds, at least in this scenario, Raiders or Bears, there's probably other teams where I'd rather be that team. But in this situation, I'd rather be the Bears.
Agreed. Ryan Poles has done a good job of giving himself an escape route.
Yeah.
Contingency plan. Over and unders. This is from Austin. Over and under 5.5 bad snaps this game.
Fine, bad.
Not accurate. Bad enough where Bagent's eyes.
It disrupts the rhythm.
The rhythm, yes. Which, if we're going to look at what happened in the field objectively against the Vikings, like Cody Whitehair did not help his quarterback whatsoever.
Well, and neither did Lucas Patrick, though, and that's been an issue too.
He's had his problems as well.
Yeah.
And he's not more experienced, as we've established, than Cody Whitehair.
But based on some conversations I've had this week, I think Lucas Patrick will do a better job with protections.
Here's the projected Bears offensive line for everybody. Larry Borum, left tackle. Cody Whitehair, left guard. Lucas Patrick, center. Tevin Jenkins, back to right guard. Darnell Wright, right tackle. There's your offensive line.
Wait, who was that left guard?
Cody Whitehair. Borum, Whitehair, Patrick, Jenkins, Wright.
I don't think I like that.
That's what it's going to be.
Why not play Carter?
Cody Whitehair's still on the roster.
What is this team doing? Are they a young team or what? Are they trying to develop or what?
Well, then trade Cody Whitehair.
So you're going to move Tevin Jenkins?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
All right, we have 3 from Joe. Number of times they mispronounce Bagent's last name, 3.5. Over.
Time out. I never answered the last question. Under. I'm going to go under. Over under 1.5 snaps for Doug Kramer.
Ooh.
He's still on IR technically.
Ooh. Okay.
Based on you telling me that Cody Whitehair's still going to be in the lineup, though, then I'm going to say under. Because to me, I was thinking, oh, why not give the young guy a look?
No. At least not yet.
What in the world is happening? All right. Number of times they mispronounce Bagent's last name. 3.5 is high.
I'm going to go. I said over. I'm going to say 3. You'll get a couple
See, I feel like
self-corrections.
once you get Bagent down, though, it's not that hard. Once you know what it is.
How about like in the when you're just calling the play?
Yeah. I'm going to take under, but there's going to be a couple.
Okay. This is from Joe again. Number of times that arm wrestling is brought up. Over under 2.5. If we don't get a good like over the top joke, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So everybody should know by this point that Tyson Bagent's father is like the greatest arm wrestler in the world. Over the Top is a very popular movie from back in the day starring Sylvester Stallone about arm wrestling.
Under.
Yeah,
It comes up,
too.
but
yeah,
they're not going to lean into it.
This is from Joe. Again, he was on fire. Number of times Adam Hoge yells, "Throw it."
Yeah.
Like Tom Thayer, 1.5.
So, I mean, if this was a Justin Fields game, it's blown that out of the water. You should have set it at 10.5. I'm still going to take the over here, though, even with Bagent. There's still going to be moments. And it's just something I yell a lot anyway. So, over.
This is from Morty McFly. Over under 5.5 times I tell myself the backup QB looks good and we start him the rest of the year. And I also hate myself for repeating my own cycle of suck. He knows what the quarterback carousel means. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is.
Bears. I don't know how to answer that, but over, I guess.
This is from Mason, friend of the show. Times I cried thinking about what could have been with Justin. 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, if that's just this week, I still think it's over. But yeah, over the course of time, I think that's going to be way over. It's a sad story. It really is. I think we're going to be talking about it forever.
Like what went wrong with Justin Fields? Oh,
Right, I
that's
think
such
with, like-
a layered story.
Right. With Mitch, it's like, okay, it probably wasn't going to work. Like the scouting. At the end of the day, the scouting was wrong. I think this is a different conversation. I think this is truly an example of a bad organization not being able to develop a quarterback that should be better than he is.
Yeah, I actually think that extends to Trubisky too, but it's double
Yeah.
with Fields. And that
there's
starts at the top.
yeah,
Yes.
there's no questions mistakes were made with Mitch too. I'm just at the end of the day, I think you can look back on it and be like, what was really the ceiling for Mitch Trubisky? And in this case, it's like, how did they screw this up? That's at least how I feel.
That's like a 10-part Hoge Jahns special on just quarterback. What word am I looking for? Just destruction.
Quarterback destruction. I think we're onto something there.
And no, I don't want to do that 10-part series. I just
know it
don't
doesn't sound fun.
I don't have the like. at the end of the day, I like talking about good things, or at least trying to talk about good things, and that would be a depressing, well, popular series of podcasts.
It could be good, but I don't
Okay,
know.
maybe we do it like a 3-part series. But
Anyway, who cares?
Yeah. Could be good though.
Oh,
All right.
Bobo had a couple sent over too. But sorry, Bob. Next week I'll get you over and unders.
All right, let's start with this game and
Bold predictions.
Max Crosby sacks. 4.
Come on.
I'm being bold.
I think he's got like 5.5 in the year.
4. Okay, 3.
No, stay bold. Stay 4.
A lot.
Darnell Wright. I think Darnell Wright will be okay. But they move. If you listen to Vic, Crosby's all over the place.
Yes. You're telling me that there's just put him over the left guard then. Put him over the left tackle.
Nose guard.
I mean, Larry Borum's just falling down last week. Put him over there. I don't 3. Max Crosby's a good player.
Here's my bold prediction. Your leading receiver this week is Darnell Mooney.
Well, that was mine last week, and it's a bad idea, and it didn't work.
You know, it's bold because Tyson Bagent is now your quarterback. You think he would keep it simple, but I'm thinking a couple screens. And if he hits Mooney, then you wonder what's going on with Fields and Mooney, but we'll see.
Okay. As for the game, this is a Fox noon game. Raiders at Bears. Bears 3-point dogs. I guess it's been around 3.5. 3-point dogs is what we're calling it right now as we record this. I think there's going to be some glimmers of excitement here with Bagent. I don't think that this is going to be like a disastrous game. But that being said, I can't pick the Bears to win, and I'm not going to. Brian Hoyer's been in the league for a long time. I think he ends up playing. I think Max Crosby causes too much trouble on the other end. Devontae Adams has been a nightmare for the Bears for years. I think this is kind of a get right situation for him. And yeah, I think it's somewhat close, like Vic said, but I'm going to go Raiders 20, Bears 16.
Oh, that was like almost exactly the score I had in mind. So let me adjust it a
You don't
little
have
bit.
to change it.
No, you can be different. I'm going to say like 23-17. 23-17 Raiders.
23-17. Okay. Yeah. Right in there. Makes sense. All right, let's get to these other games.
Good job by Equinemius St. John. He's going to get the block.
Fox noon. Amon-Ra St. John and the Lions at the Ravens. Ravens 2.5-point favorites in this game.
Yeah. I'm taking the points in the Lions.
Yeah.
I went from ripping the Lions bandwagon to now, I'll drive it a little bit. They're for real. Even with David Montgomery out.
Yeah, that's a confusing spread to me. Especially because we've seen a lot of spreads this year that are like in the 1.5 range. And for that to be 2.5, that almost makes me want to go with the Ravens just because it's suspicious, but I'm going to stick with the team that's been better so far this season. The Lions just keep on trucking, and I'm going to stick with them. All right, next one.
He hates kids. Aaron Rodgers hates kids.
CBS.
That's good.
325. The Packers at Broncos. Broncos 1-point underdogs at home against the Green Bay Packers.
Another game of suck.
Game of suck.
Broncos. Yeah. That's all I got.
Say it with enthusiasm. I'm going to go with Packers here. They're coming off a bye. The Broncos are just not a good football team at all. Packers find a way to score enough points coming off their break. So, yeah. Okay, Packers.
Yeah.
The Packers. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, go Bears.
325 also on CBS. The Chargers at Chiefs. Chiefs 5.5-point favorites at home against the Chargers.
Both teams are kind of struggling a bit. Like Justin Herbert looked pretty bad the other night, right?
Yeah,
I thought he did.
His hands busted up. His non-throwing hand.
I know, but another reason not to play a quarterback with an injured throwing hand.
Yeah.
Give me the Chiefs by a touchdown.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs too. I don't think it's a blowout. But I don't know. The Chiefs are kind of weird. Like they're not explosive, but they're still good. Like they still take care of business. So not necessarily pretty, but I'll take the Chiefs in this one.
And that's the facts. That's 100% truth.
All right, NBC Sunday night, 7:20. This is a fun one. Dolphins at Eagles. Eagles 2.5-point favorites. Dolphins just a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, Tua versus Jalen Hurts. I already saw ESPN doing or adding to the buildup of this game. The Alabama quarterbacks, obviously, big storyline there. Eagles just don't look right to me right now. Can we agree on that? Give me the Dolphins, especially with the points. Dolphins are scoring. Eagles are not. So I think the Tua advantage shows up in this one.
This is a tough one to call. I think the Eagles take care of business at home. It's a big spot. It's a big game. The 2.5 points is tough, but I'm still going to take it. I think they win like basically by a field goal. I think the Dolphins still have, holes despite how good and fast they are, but the Eagles defense, they can come up with ways to stop these guys. That's an underrated, good challenge for Sean Desai, who's the Eagles defensive coordinator now. So there you go. Good Sunday night game.
Point is, those are some numbers.
Monday night.
In this today.
Yeah, I get that. Here, I'll give you a different one.
Excuse my French, absolutely.
Who is that?
Yeah, who was
Hit it again.
Excuse my French, absolutely.
No idea.
I know I recognize the voice. Now it's
Yeah.
bothering me.
It's from this year.
Yeah, it is. I'll have to figure that out. He doesn't. Oh man, that's driving me crazy right now.
It's from this season.
I'm gonna figure it out. Anyway, Monday night. Monday night game here. Decent game. 49ers go to Minnesota. Vikings are 7-point home dogs.
I'm just going to take the Vikings, even though they're without Justin Jefferson. I'm not taking them to win, but the 49ers have a couple of very important players who are hurt. I'm not sure what their status is as of right now, 9:13 here Thursday morning in Chicago. 49ers win, Vikings cover.
DeMarcus Walker is who that is.
Yes.
And I'm not giving you credit for that, Kent. You put it in there right as I said it, but good job. I don't know how Kent figured that out, but I figured it out. Yes.
Excuse my French, absolutely.
It's just he's too new to the team. Kid didn't spot the voice yet. That's a bad job by us. I'm sorry. Do you take the Vikings?
Yes.
I'm going to take the 49ers. I think they bounce back strong this week. The thing about the Browns is the Browns are really good defensively, and the Vikings are not. It's been very interesting. So we talked to Cole Kmet on Tuesday on CHGO. We talked to Brian Baldinger yesterday on CHGO. Both of them were like, the Vikings have holes in that defense, like schematic things that they do that aren't sound. Now, you counter that with how the hell did the Bears not exploit that? I don't know. But the point is, if you're going to tell me that before a matchup against the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, who lives for exploiting stuff like that, I think the 49ers win by double digits.
Really?
In this one.
Even with the injuries they have?
even with the injuries they have.
Okay.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Give me the Dolphins for the lock.
Ooh, okay.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right. That's going to do it for us. Fun show. Appreciate Vic Tafur joining us. And make sure you're following him on Twitter at Vic Tafur. All his Raiders coverage on The Athletic. All of Johnsy's coverage on The Athletic. theathletic.com/Hoge Jahns. Follow us at Adam Hoge, at Adam Johns. All of our stuff over on CHGO. Still got shows throughout the rest of this week leading into Sunday. And, of course, we have pregame. We got another tailgate. It's our last Sunday tailgate, by the way, for CHGO. There's still tickets available, all chgo.com. If you are a diehard, you get a discount. So come join us Sunday morning. If you don't come Sunday, the last one is that Thursday night game against the Panthers. So, but it'd be fun to see you guys out there on Sunday morning. Weather should be okay, it seems like, for this matchup against the Raiders. And see if the Bears can get a win. Tyson Bagent season is here. We'll be back post-game.
Bagent Hoyer Sunday. I'm trying to get pumped up for it.
Just get super excited.
Nothing's off the table. Nothing is on the table right now.
I think it applies to Bagent too. Nothing's on the table. Nothing's off the table. It's a blank canvas. Who knows? We'll be back.
It's a blank table. No, they're okay.
The table is the field at Soldier Field. And nothing's on it. Nothing's off it. It's just Bagent. Whatever happens Sunday, we will be here to wrap it up post game.
See ya.